That's right. Today we're going down under and we're going to work on kangaroo. Kangaroo is unique because unlike most meats we can get out here, they don't seem to taste overbred or to resemble the same type of taste of a chicken or beef. This has its own scent and flavor. Uh, that's not the best part about it though. The best part about it is about what's on paper and what we're hoping for, which is also going to define exactly how we treat and cook the kangaroo meat. So we're going to open this up in a second and go through a little bit more of what's on here, but historically the kangaroo has been a source of food for indigenous Australians. I would assume this is mostly out of necessity, but it's finally starting to make strides elsewhere. It's super high in protein and very lean. And I mean, have you seen how built a kangaroo is? Of course it's going to be lean. It's apparently got about 2% fat, and while a lot of people think that fat equals flavor, I don't always agree, especially if you're cooking for a distinct taste of the animal. I think that the muscle is where you really want to go for with that. It's high in iron, minerals, vitamins, and has a lot of essential acids, including things I can't pronounce. One of them is called CLA, which through studies have shown a potential to actually reduce obesity. Not like, get rid of it, but it will help lower your waistline a little. On top of that, kangaroo meat is usually sourced in the wild by hunters with special license due to overpopulation. So if you're getting, what you're getting with the kangaroo is a free-range, clean, grass-fed animal that has lived a good life, and you're helping to control a species so they don't kill themselves by eating all their food. This is possibly the best and most humane meat you can get, and it has been studied to include anti-carcinogenic and anti-diabetes properties. So kangaroo meat also makes for a great pet food, since it's also low in saturated trans fat, which helps anyone and animals contribute to lower cholesterol. Uh, Being the fact that it's wild, it's also free from gross stimulants, human interference, farming, inhumane practices, and has no artificial chemicals added to it, which you can also see the beautiful coloring with it a little bit here. It's very fresh looking meat. Why aren't more people eating this? I'm not sure, but in an attempt to try and get the stigma off what is actually, the fact that it's kangaroo, they've tried to go the way of venison and veal and name it Australis, but it hasn't really seemed to take off yet. But being such a good food, with the amount of things that are included in this meat, there is an entire diet dedicated to it called Kangatarian, which there are people that do that. I don't know if I'm going to be converted today, but we'll find out. This is a really lean meat, which you can tell. I don't see really any fat anywhere on this. It is well trimmed, and this is the loin. For this experiment, we're going to kind of treat it more like steak, and I'm going to dry brine it in salt in the fridge for about 3 hours. Then we're going to toss on a rub that we made and hopefully pull out its natural flavors with that rub, because we really want to try to see what this tastes like, and then smoke it and sear it. We have today a kangaroo loin, which is, if you're familiar with the loin, it is basically the filet mignon version of a kangaroo at this point. So it's going to taste pretty good, I think, as well, because of that. It's really, really going to have a good flavor. It's off the back a little bit there, and we're not going to add any fat to it today because we want to actually get the taste. And even when you're cooking a cow filet mignon, you don't normally just add a ton of fat to it when you're cooking it anyway, so we're not going to add that to this either, and we're going to see what it goes with. The meat itself, it has a really, really unique smell that I can't I can't pinpoint what that is. Texture wise, I mean, it looks kind of like venison, I suppose. A lot of people consider this is the venison of Australia. I'm not one of those people, and I am not going to quote that, but you can have it on there. But yeah, the smell is different. So let's get our salt onto this and dry brine it, shall we? so this is being salted and the dry brine is on, so we're going to throw it in the fridge and we'll come back and check it out in a few hours. We're going to go with 3. Okay, so for the roux, we're going to make something here that I'm going to call roux sauce. The instructions are going to be on my website later anyway for this recipe if it turns out. It's going to involve some cayenne pepper, rice vinegar, New Zealand white wine, soy sauce, maple syrup, and maple sugar. So, rice wine vinegar, white wine, soy sauce, maple syrup. If anybody wants to know, I used highest grade amber dark maple syrup that we have out here in Canada. And maple sugar. That's also derived from 100% pure Canadian maple syrup. And roughly 1 tablespoon of cayenne. Now we're going to mix it together, and then we're going to kind of reduce it down to a sauce. Okay, so this is over a medium-high heat. We're going to stir it in together and then try to reduce it down and see what happens. So we can see it's starting to reduce and do its thing. You're just going to kind of want to keep moving this a little bit while it does this, and once it starts to do that, turn down the heat a little bit. And when it reduces by roughly about 1/4 of a cup to a 1/2 a cup, we should be able to try it and see what it tastes like. For anybody super curious right now, it's got about a 1/2 a cup of soy sauce, a 1/2 a cup of the rice vinegar, 1/2 a cup of the white wine vinegar, 1/2 a cup of maple sugar, just over 1/4 cup of maple syrup, and then it's got a tablespoon of cayenne inside it if you wanted to try to start to make it yourself. And then we just reduce it down. And it's still kind of reducing. I sampled it as it was so far, and it could have definitely done with probably maybe a teaspoon of cayenne pepper and not a tablespoon of cayenne pepper, but that's fine. I enjoy it, but I think it's going to be a little bit too spicy for my wife to try, but we'll see when we get to that stage. So what we're looking for really is, as we are trying to reduce it down, you want it to be a little bit more syrupy than it currently is right now. So it's still got a little bit ways to go, but we'll check up on it in a bit. They could change the flavor entirely too, so it might not be too spicy afterwards. This is an experiment, and I didn't think the cayenne was going to come out as strong as it did, so yeah. Okay, check out this color. Once I start to get rid of that, let me move this around a bit. You see the texture and consistency starting to get a little thicker, and it's getting a little bit darker. I don't know if that's actually coming through on this, but we are basically there. That's what we're looking for, I think. It's still a little bit runny, but it's boiling down a little more now, so it's almost ready. And then we'll give it a shot. This is what we ended up with. I made it again because, yeah, there was a little too much cayenne in it, so the website will have the updated, perfected version of this. I'm not editing this for YouTube to redo it because it is an experiment. I want everybody to kind of see exactly how we're doing it all, but this is what we got out of it. You can see it's a little thick, but it's still liquidy, and yeah. Okay, so we're gonna make a sauce to cook with the vegetables. We're going to go with the kangaroo, and it's basically lemon juice, olive oil, mustard, maple syrup, and some salt and pepper. I'm going to make it in a pan afterwards with broccoli, red onion, and yeah, so we'll go through that. There's going to be some red pepper that's going to go onto the grill with it as well, and then that's going to be mixed in with the vegetables afterwards, and sort of served as a side. So let's make this sauce. Okay, well there it is, just covered, and we're going to leave it off and just room temperature until it's time to cook it. So let's clean up this kitchen and wait for the kangaroo to get ready. Well, it's raining. It's not going to stop us, but it's going to stop us from filming a lot more stuff outside because we don't want to ruin the equipment. But we're going to start to get the veggies and stuff ready, and I guess turn this on soon. Now, this channel is not really about vegetables and cooking veggies, but it's part of the meal that we're making, so we will have this on here, but I'm going to kind of skip through all this and just kind of pre-cut everything in there. But long story short, the sweet potatoes are going to get peeled because the skin sucks on those things, and then I'm going to cut them into fries and then smoke them and kind of finish them off with some fire on the grill. The red peppers are going to be sliced and smoked as well. Then the onion and the broccoli will be cooked in that sauce that we made. Here it is. So let's start to separate everything, get them where they gotta go. We're gonna dice up the onion a bit more to mix with the broccoli. It's gonna go in the pot. And then we're gonna French fry up the sweet potatoes and fire up the grill. Okay, so I used about half of that onion because there's a lot in there and I do love red onion. And even though this is gonna get cooked last, it's gonna kind of sit there and marinate with that sauce that we made. I just took the tin foil off it. So we're gonna pour it all over everything here. Then I'm gonna cover that in foil. Okay, vegetables are covered here. We got the broccoli and the onion. The potatoes were just kind of tossed in grapeseed oil, some salt and some parsley, and then they're going to go into that. And then we have the red pepper here, which I just kind of used my hand after I rubbed that down to rub those down with a little bit with what was left over, so they're a little bit oily. And yeah, so now all that's left is to fire up the grill, and then we're going to make the rub, and then we're going to get everything going. Pretty easy to make. It's basically equal parts mustard powder, pepper, sage, parsley, and then a little bit of a little extra pinch of salt. I know that there's already salt on the Kangaroo, but that's what it's going to be. The grill is on. We're waiting for it to get the temperature. So we're going to chuck on the potatoes, and then shortly after the green pepper or the red pepper, and then we're going to take out the roux and we're going to put some oil on it. We are going to put this rub on it, and then we are going to wait for it to get to about 110 on the smoke setting on the offside, and then we're going to take it off, wrap it, bring up the heat, and then sear it quickly. Let's get these potatoes onto the grill. It's going to need the most amount of time, so we'll let them sit there and do their thing. Then we're going to get the roux ready, and the pepper's going to go out with the roux. Okay, the weather still sucks, but these are just going to kind of sit right off there. We'll close that down. Temperature's currently sitting at 125. It's still trying to get up there, but that's fine. We're not ready to do anything else yet, so it's going to go. Okay, it is roux time. See how that looks right now. Pretty good, eh? Okay, so what we got to do now is basically rub it down with some oil. So what we're doing now is rubbing it down with the oil. I'm going to rub it with the oil. There's still salt on this, so again that rub doesn't have a lot of extra salt added to it. But we're just going to kind of massage that oil in here on this side a little bit. Okay, now I need a free hand to get the rub onto it, so hold on. It's already starting to kind of pull apart a little bit in these parts from the breakdown, so I just kind of rubbed it into that. It's looking really good, so we're just going to kind of flip it and then do the same thing, and then we're going to get it onto the grill. It is probably a good idea to note that I did not use all the rub that we made from that onto this, because that will be too much and overpowering it. But this looks pretty good, and I think it looks ready to start to grill. So we can see how this is going to go. Oh yeah, it's going to be delicious, guys. Okay, and that's the olive oil we're using. So let's get this onto the grill. Okay, so there's our fries still, and here's our roux. It's going to go onto the edge. smoke that till it gets to about 110 degrees. And once it hits 110 degrees, we're gonna take it off, wrap it, and sear it. And yeah, so I'm gonna clean up everything else right now and get that ready to go. And we'll just wait. And the peppers are going on next, so yeah. Okay, the peppers are on, and we've got that ready to check the temperature. And we're using the ThermoPro for this one because it's raining and I don't want to be outside. Okay, we're getting close to 110, so it's going to be time to get these off and then get that grill up to temperature to sear it. Okay, so Mr. Joey here is at 110, so we're going to pull that out because we're not going to need it now. I'm going to clean that later because I got it for another thing to do afterwards, but we're going to take this off. And if you look at it right now, I can't tell. Ooh, it looks pretty nice. So we're gonna go wrap that, but before we wrap it, I gotta take out the fries and I gotta put them there. And that's gonna go directly above them. Then we'll close that lid. And then we're gonna turn this up to 450. And it's gonna start the work. And then we'll be able to sear these afterwards. So the roux is wrapped. It's not ready to do anything else with it yet. The barbecue's getting to the temperature. We've cleaned the probe, and yeah, so the broccoli and stuff won't be ready yet to go either. We're gonna cook that when it rests after we've seared this, because this will need to rest for about 10 minutes, and that should be as long as the broccoli is gonna need. We'll add some water to that pot once it's ready, and just kind of cook it with the foil on top of it. And yeah, so we're just gonna wait until it is ready to go back on. Okay, we are officially at the stage where we can remove the peppers. The fries are still doing their thing, so we'll take those off. It's at 405, so it's getting close to the temperature to sear the roux on. So we'll just keep waiting. So I flipped all the fries just to make sure they can get the even flame right now, because this is a little bit of an out of control fire, probably from the other grease that we had on there earlier, but it's not a big problem. But we'll just let it cook and do its thing. Okay, grills to temp, so I'm just gonna chuck that up there, and then we will put these onto the fire. Then basically what we want to do is let the fire hit that, and every 30 seconds or so we're going to turn it over and just double check on it, not overcook it all. We're going to have to re-season this grate afterwards. Okay, so we're pretty much ready at the temperature, so I'm going to just put these off to the side for a minute, because I got to go take in those fries. Okay, that is off. The roux is ready, and we'll go and start the broccoli and stuff, and I guess while that cooks, I'm going to try to re-season this grate. The roux is wrapped, so we are ready to start to cook the broccoli. That's easy. We just end up adding a little bit of water to it with what I already had. Then we get the fire going. We'll cook it on like a medium low, medium high-ish. We'll stir it every couple of minutes, but it will sit with this on top of it. So what you want to do is kind of stir this every couple of minutes so it cooks evenly while the roux is resting for roughly 15 minutes. Okay, so this is basically done. The water and the liquid at the bottom has evaporated. It's marinated in the sauce that we made earlier. It looks amazing. It's going to taste amazing. So we're going to turn that off. We're going to get ready to, I guess, check out the roux. Alright, here it is. And let's give it a little bit of a cut up and take a look, shall we? Look at that. That is some good looking meat. Okay, that is some good looking meat. We're gonna take a small sample. Oh, that is so good. Wow. It smells delicious. It tastes delicious. Here, Olive. She's been waiting for this all day. Oh yeah, you like that girl, don't you? Okay, I'm gonna have to clean that up afterwards. Alright, so here's our meal. It looks phenomenal. What's left is we're gonna add that roux sauce to it. And this has been delicious. You guys are in for a treat. You gotta try this.